So here's a bit of a mystery now, an investigation underway into what a pilot saw flying only 3 miles from one of the world's busiest airports. A jumbo jet pilot claiming to see a black drone hovering outside his cockpit window as he was landing at JFK here in New York. Rick Leventhal is on that story live in our studio. That's pretty unusual.
It is indeed, Bill. In fact, the New York Post quotes one investigator saying in all his years at the airport, he can't remember anything like this. And investigators say even if it turns out to just be a hobbyist toy plane, it still raises serious concerns. It happened at 1:15 yesterday afternoon. The pilot of an Alitalia jetliner spotting what he described as a black drone unmanned aircraft, hovering just 200 feet from his jet on his final approach to runway 31 right. According to the FAA, which is investigating, the pilot reported the sighting about 4 to 5 miles west of the airport at an altitude of roughly 1,500 feet, saying it looked like a, quote, black drone about a meter square with helicopter rotors on the corners. The aircraft did not take evasive action and landed safely, Bill.
Wow, so do investigators believe there was some sort of sinister motivation here at work, or do they know?
Well, it's possible, but, any flying object could pose a danger to aircraft. We've seen what bird strikes can do. A drone could cause problems if it were sucked into an engine. The FAA referred us to its Model Aircraft Operating Standards, written back in 1981. It allows for flying remote-controlled airplanes recreationally, but only up to 400 feet, and within sight of the operator, and anyone flying a craft within 3 miles of an airport is required to notify the tower or FAA. The New York Post reports the Joint Terrorism Task Force is assisting with the investigation, trying to determine exactly what the object was, who owns it, and what their motivations were for flying it in the approach path of incoming jets. Now, based on conversations that I've had this morning with local and federal law enforcement, it doesn't appear to be terrorism-related, Bill, but we're going to have to wait a little while to find out for sure.
And you heard from the FAA already today. They're looking into it. We'll see what comes of it. Thank you, Rick Leventhal, here in studio.